Hey guys, it's Chad Rook from War for the Planet of the Apes, and you are listening to Mark Who 42.
Welcome to Mark Who 42's universe here on Subspace Radio Network. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and we've got a really good show for you today. But let's go and find out who's on our show with me. We've got
Eduardo M, Freyre, and I want to be the Golden Age elongated man.
Oh, there's a lot of Golden Age going around, Ed. Who else do we have?
Vicky Jakubowski.
Vicky, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today.
If you could be a JSA member, who would you be?
Oh, God, that's so tough. I don't know. I always want to be Wonder Woman. But was she actually a JSA member?
Yeah, she was. She was back.
Was she actually?
JSA. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm sticking with Wonder Woman. I always want to be Wonder Woman.
No, but yeah, she was JSA, and then she wasn't, and then they
wasn't she
her...
the secretary? She was the secretary of the JSA.
Yeah, that was not. Yeah,
that was in the 40s. She was the secretary.
But no, but she was in the 40s.
I want to be the treasurer now.
Yeah. Well, no, but I know that she was in the JSA, and then they retconned her out, and then they retconned her back in, but said it was Hippolyta doing time travel, and then they did that. Nope. It has been Wonder Woman.
You know,
it's like they keep going back and forth.
They overthink it sometimes a little too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was the 40s.
Definitely.
What did they think? What did they think?
Hey, I just like the cool outfit, the golden bracelets, and the lasso.
Yeah.
We won't say anything about the bondage.
Psychologist man who invented you. What is your problem? Okay. Molten.
You're taking me back to my D&D days, guys.
Okay. Oh God. So as you can see, we're talking about the JSA, and what movie were the JSA part of this last month? But Black Adam, the movie starring Dwayne Johnson that he's been trying to make for umpteen years. He's been trying to make this for a long time, Ed, hasn't he?
I don't know about umpteen years, but yeah, it has been years in the making.
Yeah, many. And people thought it would never be done.
Oh, it got done.
It did. And it got done well.
Very well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Ed, why don't you lead us on this expedition to Kahndaq?
Okay, well, Kahndaq, yeah. First of all, for those who don't know, Black Adam was, Black Adam was a character first originally Fawcett Comics, and he is basically the opposite number to Captain Marvel, aka Shazam, aka Billy Bats, and all that jazz. And well, in recent times, he's been in recent years, he was kind of made into an anti-hero. They introduced the idea that he comes from this Middle Eastern African country, Kahndaq, and that he is basically how do I put this? He's kind of their champion.
Yeah.
The thing is that he's not. I mean, he kind of takes that whole eye for an eye thing very seriously.
Yeah.
I know that in the modern comics, he's done stuff like, I remember most is he was kind of the one of the focus characters in the 52 miniseries.
Yeah.
Back in like 06, 07. And he was kind of the idea, he was like, hey, all these heroes that are out here, they suck. They can't get the job done. And then how does he show this off? He rips a guy in half on live TV.
Yeah.
Sorry, Terra Man. You were a fun Superman villain. Now you're just not feeling yourself.
No. Wasn't he in jail, the Justice League for a while recently?
Recently he was made a member of the Justice League while Bendis was writing it. And then also before that, he was a member of the JSA.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was kind of weird. It's like he was under house arrest, so he had to hang out with the group. And also Captain Marvel came in and was like, yeah, I'm going to watch out for you because you're bad news. And by the way, every time, just to let people know right now, when I say Captain Marvel, I mean Billy Batson. Yeah. I know everybody calls him Shazam right now, but you know what? I'm sticking with Captain Marvel.
And you're going to get a lawsuit from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You know what? Bring it the hell on.
Okay. You know,
bring it
Marvel
on.
and DC have been swapping names and characters for so long that, I mean, can they really sue each other anymore?
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that if we're going to split hairs here, Mr. Batson has been using the Captain Marvel name since the 40s.
I agree. No, you're right.
Okay, so don't let's not start this.
No.
Anyway, but yeah, Black Adam. When the Shazam movie got announced, it was like, oh, are we gonna get Black Adam? We're gonna get Black Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there was talk about Black Adam being the villain in the Shazam movie.
Yeah.
But then they were like, actually, no, let's save him for his own movie. And then there was talk about his own movie. I know that Dwayne Johnson, when he was, when there was the idea of him joining the DCEU, that they were like, oh, who do you want to be? And the choices were, he actually told the fans, it was like, do you want me to be Captain Marvel, or do you want me to be Black Adam? And the fans were like, Black Adam, Black Adam.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, fans have spoken.
Yeah.
The fans have spoken. So yeah, that's how we got Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam, which honestly,
he really was terrible at it. Sarcasm. Okay.
No. No, what? You were being sarcastic? I couldn't tell.
Sarcasm.
Well, the whole concept of the anti-hero goes way back in mythology, and I think it fits. And you see it even in more modern times. It was really popular in the 80s and the 90s, where you would have like the rogue cop. You even still see it in some movies and TV shows today, where you have, that one cop or that one superhero that kind of skirts the quote unquote rules so that they can get the job done. And people like that because, yes, the rules are there for a purpose, but, sometimes you really hate it when you see things happen. And the fact that he is in some ways more attainable, more human, more of, you can identify with him because of the fact that he's not perfect. He's not all good. He's not all bad. He's somewhere in between, just like we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me that I think makes well, first of all, we're talking the more modern interpretations of Black Adam. Because I've seen, like, my first exposure to Black Adam was the early 90s miniseries War of the Gods.
Yeah.
Which had,
I just read that recently again.
Yeah. Well, it's like in War of the Gods, Black Adam is more of a straight up villain.
Yeah.
He's more of a straight up villain. It was only within, I think, the last like 20 years that Black Adam has become, this anti-hero, that he's become this sort of, this kind of, and to me, it does make him a bit more relatable than just being a straight up evil version of a hero like Captain Marvel.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
but he was. I mean, that was his original intent.
Right, but the thing is, it's this new thing actually, to me, I feel works out a lot better because it then has a nuance. There's like a nuance. Like he becomes one of those, like, I'm always fascinated by villains that are not going to be like straight up villain, in the sense that if the world is if like the universe is threatened, they'll team up with the heroes because they're like, oh, there's either A, it's like, oh, if anyone's going to rule the world, it's me, or like in Black Adam's case, it's I'm defend if the universe is imperiled, Kahndaq is imperiled, I'm defending Kahndaq.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, sure, join the club. I mean, that's the thing I like. One of the things, I mean, 52, we had him, the 52 miniseries, we had him first off, try to form a coalition to like, of like different countries and stuff to try and like really defend the world. It's like, no, we're really defending the world. Yeah, you guys, Batman, Superman up, you're not doing the right job. We'll take care of it. Leave it to us because we'll do what you can. And then there's also the fact that he fell in love. His wife got murdered, and then he proceeds to go next door and massacre an entire country.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the type of thing of like, yeah, he's, it's, but this is because, the country financed a terror operation that killed his family. It's like, okay, I mean, it's scary, but then you also think it's like, okay, he became the de facto ruler of Kahndaq because in the JSA comics, he actually like got together with some heroes who agreed with him and invaded the country and killed the dictator. Yeah. And it's like, that's one of the things I love about the movie.
Yeah.
Is that it touched on that thing where, he's basically pulling no punches, killing his opponents, and then the people are like, yeah, our champion's back. Yes. Yeah. Oh, he tore that guy into tiny little pieces, but that guy was part of Intergang, so good for Teth-Adam.
Yeah.
And I mean, who could not? Well, okay, I'm sure there's some people, but I mean, us regular Joes could so identify with having that hero who takes that person who's taking from you, who's either abusing you, your country, your resources, and I mean, we all get excited when we see the superhero get rid of the bad guys, and I love it when you have them go, you guys didn't give a rat's patoot about us.
Yeah.
Why everyone was coming in and oppressing us. And the second we get our own superhero, then you guys are all up in arms and you're all upset. And it's like
don't kill people. No, you got to follow the rules. Yeah. Yeah. See, and I like the fact it was interesting. That. Well, what I like is that it was, it wasn't Black Adam saying it. He's just doing his thing. Yeah. And it was everybody else going, yeah, where were you?
Yeah.
Why are you coming in here saying, no, you got to do this, you got to do this? It's like, where the heck were you?
It was really nice, kind of the way that, because you had the Justice League on one side going, no, bad.
No.
And then you had the people going, yay, good. And somewhere they kind of meet in between where it's like, okay, so maybe we don't want to, cause complete death and destruction. Maybe we want to make sure that Teth-Adam is bringing, is doing the right thing and not going to destroy the world they live in now to, get to the bad guy. Don't destroy everything. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater sort of concept. So how do we do that? And how do we bring him to the point where it makes more sense but still have our hero and I think that to me, it made so much sense the way it felt very organic, because if it had just been one of those stories, I mean, they could have played it super safe and he just did everything right, which would not have been right with this character.
Right.
Yeah.
And they could have just absolutely done this movie horribly wrong. And I love the fact that you so saw it from the eyes of the people. And you actually, there were several points where the Justice Society, you were like, get the heck out of there. What do you people think you're doing?
Yeah. Or
it's like, go away.
Or to use a modern parlance, read the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, look, these guys, these people are on, they're defending Teth-Adam.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you may want to rethink, you may want to rethink your approach, but also, and it's interesting because Teth-Adam knows he's imperfect, right? But to him, he's like, well, nope, but Kahndaq is in trouble and they got me,
right?
And it's like, you idiots, we're half a world away, so
yes,
shut up.
He's behaving more instinctively, which is not in and of itself bad.
No.
Yeah.
But it's as he starts to do things more with more thought and more intelligently, then he becomes a better and better champion.
Yeah.
And I really like that because it just gets so you start to see his mind working and him thinking methodically. And even, when he makes the comment, Hawkman goes, I thought we agreed no more killing. He's like, I waited till you were there. It's like,
I knew you'd catch him.
I knew you'd get them. It's okay. They're alive. They're breathing.
Yeah, you caught him. You caught him. We're good. We're good.
And not just immediately act instinctively. So you see the character go from being almost brute strength and thinking pure instinct to going, okay, I can do this both ways. I can be both a protector and I can do what I need to do. And I can also do this better. I can do it better than I did it the first time, where I caused a lot of destruction and a lot of innocents were harmed in the process. So, you can almost see the fact that he is growing very quickly as a hero, a flawed hero. But don't we love a good flawed hero?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't a flawed hero better? I love Superman, but Superman also has flaws.
Yes, I agree, because I don't think he's the perfect Boy Scout that everyone complained he was. I think he definitely has flaws.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
why
one
he's
of
my
the
favorite
things
superhero.
that works in all of these superhero movies.
Also,
they are human in some way, or
I think. Well, also, Vicky, what I got to say is that, see, one of the things I love about this movie is that the flawed hero, or in this case, anti-hero, works for Black Adam. I mean, we bring up Superman. We bring up Superman, and it's like, Superman is perceived as a Boy Scout, although it's not necessarily true.
Yeah,
but
you look
it's
at the
like
history,
it's the thing. Yeah, right. But the thing is that you can't use. Okay, you cannot use the Black Adam formula for someone like Superman and have him still be Superman.
True.
There's a reason, there's a reason why the formula works for Black Adam.
Yeah.
And not for
that's true.
Superman. And that's
works.
I think that's the thing that I think needs to be that's the thing that I think also needs to be the thing that made this movie work is that formula, the formula that the powers that be seem to want to keep, that they keep trying to press. In this case, it works.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, you can't just be like, everybody has flaws. It's like,
because it needs to be more nuanced.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what, when you look at, in general, what we like when we're reading our superheroes is if every single character was the same. If every single character gave us the same nuances and everything else, and I think the reason that we humans enjoy our anti-heroes is because they kind of leave you guessing.
Yeah.
What are they going to do next? What is what is it going to look like? What, are they going to make the right choices? Is it going to be a little in the crazy realm they're going to enter? Oh my goodness. What is he going to do? You sit there and you kind of wonder, because he keeps you on your toes, which is one of the many reasons I found this movie very enjoyable, is that you are so you don't know, even when you know the character, and you've got all these years that you can pull from different concepts. And I really do I have to throw in that bit. I like the different things they pull in, which I know we can talk about to more length, but I like the fact that I wasn't 100% sure what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, it's something that when you have character arcs that go on for decades and they have so much to pull from, it's one of the things that I think the MCU has done although there may be some, set moments in time, there may be some fixed points for certain characters. This is one of those characters that's a little interesting. And I just and I haven't read a Black Adam comic in decades, and I haven't seen him in a animated series in so long. I have this back memory of the character, but I had actually forgotten so much. And it's like, as I was watching, it was like, oh, hold it, I think I remember something about this.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were other things I had to look up. I'm like, what is this from? And then learning about some of the newer history. It's just, I loved it. It had me on my toes. That was very cool.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, especially, I mean, I just remember that, he, when they announced, I know when they announced that Black Adam was happening, I put up that, I would post on social media that the cover to that issue of 52 where Black Adam went next door and slaughtered the entire country.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, you got to tell me this is going to be a part of his character. Because that's the thing. I mean, also, turning making Black Adam just a pure hero, and something where you're supposed to ignore the fact that he grabbed that helicopter by the tail and then slammed it into the floor. Yeah, let's just ignore that. You're supposed to think he's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't go in that direction.
No.
Because that would be the other thing. It's kind of like kind of like how you had the kind of like how, to bring up Alan Moore, he did Watchmen. You had the character of Rorschach, and everybody's like, Rorschach's so cool, and Alan Moore's banging his head against the table going, you're not supposed to like him. You stupid, you stupid donkeys, what's the matter with you?
Right. And sometimes that's really important. You can admire the characters, you can but there are some characters that are not supposed to be likable, that are not supposed to be that are not supposed to be
that guy.
I want to grow up to be him. You're not supposed to want that.
No.
I want to grow up to be like Black Adam and shove my fingers through Psychopirate's face.
I want to rip someone in half.
Yeah. I want to rip Terrorman in half too.
Poor Terrorman. Oh, he was so misunderstood.
Excuse you?
Well, eco-terrorist in his first appearance in the post John Byrne Superman, and and then he wasn't again. So misunderstood.
You gotta fund your eco-terrorism somehow. So if you gotta rob a bank or two,
there you go.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, you never want to have an evil guy be just so flat, so two-dimensional, and too often and let's be honest, both DC and Marvel have sometimes had these the quote-unquote bad guys that they're so two-dimensional, and you're just like, thank God they were one-offs or two-offs, or and then sometimes they just keep coming back, and you're like, really, could we give them some depth, maybe a backstory or something? Dear God, give them a reason. Give them a reason for living.
I got to tell you something. We have a reason to stop here. We have to take a commercial break here on Subspace Radio Network. We are talking all about Black Adam, the movie, starring Dwayne Johnson and Pierce Brosnan, but we'll get to him a little later. So we'll be right back here on Subspace Radio Network.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Tooncast is dedicated to the cartoons we grew up with. 100 episodes and more make up one of the GCRN's most popular podcasts. Join hosts TFG and Mike, Optimus Solo, Terror the Rising Star, and tons of guest hosts. We also have voice actor and writer interviews. Tune in to Tooncast as we look back on the cartoons that defined us as geeks. You can find Tooncast on iTunes and the web at www.geekcastradio.com. Tune in.
You are listening to Mark Who 42's Universe.
Can you smell what Kahndaq is cooking? We're back here on Mark Who.
No, because it's in a movie. We can't smell what Kahndaq is cooking because it's in a movie and they don't have smell-o-vision.
Are you
Thank
sure?
God for that.
But given that it's a Middle Eastern type country, I'm pretty sure it's going to be some standard stuff, some pretty good stuff, probably some
Tasty.
Welcome
back.
back.
No, definitely.
Welcome back to Mark Who 42's Universe here on Subspace Radio. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. With me today are Eduardo M. Freyre and Vicky Jakubowski. And we are talking, as we kind of just inferred, Black Adam. Okay. Oh, God. I really loved this movie. I really did.
It was so good.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely.
I wasn't sure because I heard it was going to be, very dark, and I'm not a big fan of dark superhero movies, hence the Batfleck and stuff. But
it was dark in the right way.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between dark and it just
Broken?
This needed to have a certain level of this needed to have a certain level of darkness to fit the character.
Yeah.
And so when you're doing something that fits the character and it's organic, that's very different than trying to impose something. And I'm afraid that we were getting a bit of that where it felt forced. It felt unnecessary. It felt wrong. Everything about this, and it's really funny because I heard mixed reviews about it. And one of the things that I have felt about superhero films since the beginning, and they always get mixed reviews, and I think that some people miss the point of superhero films. The people who tend to dislike them also, frankly, never picked up a comic book in their life.
Yeah.
They don't understand either the characters or where this fits in the psyche, the fandom, or why people would like them. That's fine. It's not your cup of tea.
Right.
Not everyone loves Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare. Other people go see Shakespearean movies and go, why am I watching this?
Yeah.
I get that. I don't.
Well,
I
and
don't
you know what?
give a
Actually,
shit for that.
and here's the thing, because I like both.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like both.
Just don't pan it just because it's a comic book movie.
Okay,
And
here's the thing. Can I say something about comic book movies? I'm sorry to interrupt. Comic book movies.
It's okay.
Marvel comic book movies. You totally don't have to be a comic book fan. I know there are millions of people who are not comic book fans who fell in love with the MCU. And is that happening with the DC movies? It's almost like you need to be a comic book fan.
Not as much. They're having trouble crossing that divide.
Like not even, I would say you don't even, the problem is not even, that you have to be a comic book fan to enjoy them. The problem is that they're trying to act like there's something wrong with the concept of superhero movies. So it's like, we're trying to, kind of like how you watch a cooking show and it's like, can you elevate this simple dish?
Right.
It's like, can you elevate this material?
Yeah.
They're trying to act like it needs to be elevated.
Is trying to, and I think that like Shazam and Black Adam both work because they kind of, lean into the source material. And they both did very well. So did Wonder Woman. And I think that because they are fun movies, even this one with it being so dark, there's a fun aspect to it, and there's enough action. And I think that this one has a certain resonance to today's world that people could go and watch it and go, I get this, even if they don't understand the comic.
Yeah.
And Shazam, because you've got the kids becoming superheroes, lots of people can understand that.
Although I mean, even I've seen people on social media that even have issues with Shazam because they're not a fan. Well, they're not a fan of making Shazam, big, but with superheroes.
Yeah.
Only because they feel like it betrays the character of like Billy Batson into Captain Marvel, because making the superhero form a man-child kind of goes against the fact that, well, remember, he's supposed to have the wisdom of Solomon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was like the one thing that kind of it messed me up with the movie. But wasn't there a comic iteration that did have wasn't there a comic iteration of Shazam or Captain Marvel where he did retain his youth, his childness? I think there was, but I wasn't.
But it may have been like a more modern type of sentiment.
Well, I like him with the wisdom of Solomon. So it's a pain when he was a kid. I didn't.
But
I know, but
I still like the movie. I still love the movie.
Levi having that, I feel like it's the coming into his own.
Yeah.
And so it's big. Leaching into Shazam, Captain Marvel. Billy's youthfulness is leaching in and superseding Solomon a little bit.
Yeah.
So it makes it okay because it's enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
And so I think that I think, Ed, you kind of hit it, that DC, in some ways, they're trying too hard. And so when they get these hits, and this one has made, it's over $350 million worldwide, so it's more than made back its money.
Wow. I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah. That's where it was.
How many weeks? In how many weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, I think. Yeah.
So, it just, and with people still not going back. I mean, when I went to the movie theater, it was only about 25% full. Actually, not even that much. Nowhere near that much, actually, if I think about it. And it just, people, although I understand people are flocking to Black Panther, I haven't gone to see it yet.
Saw it yesterday.
How full was your movie theater? Was it full?
Decent size.
That is
decent size.
That had the 10th largest opening day. Wakanda. Yeah.
And we still are not. Everyone is not going back to the movie theaters.
Right.
And so, with that, it's hard to judge. Can you say that movies are doing phenomenal because not everyone's going back to the movie theaters.
Right.
Some people are waiting now until things come back on, Disney Plus or HBO Max or whatever it's going to come out on, because they're like, you know what? I don't want to go to the movie theaters because people in movie theaters are rude. They're awful and they cough on you. Or they smoke next to you. I had that when I went to go see Thor: Love and Thunder. The people next to me smoking.
I thought you couldn't smoke in the theater.
You can't. And we actually had the manager come out, and then he threatened us. I mean, come on, it's just like, oh my God, could you please just kick him out?
Yeah.
So it just, the movie theater experience is not what it once was. So a lot of people are not going back, and you don't have. In some places you do, but you don't have that quantity. So the fact that in 4 or 5 weeks, it's made over $350 million worldwide, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And there's already talk about doing a second one, and we might get Adrianna as Isis and her son coming.
Yeah. Although, they may have to do a name change with that one. I know.
Can't exactly people don't understand that concept. Of what Isis, the Egyptian goddess, is. And it's such a shame. Because I love that character growing up.
Oh yeah.
She's such a both as Egyptian mythology and the DC character of Isis. I really liked that one. It was a really cool character. It was kind of a really nice departure, but you didn't get kind of a counterpart to Wonder Woman. So you had the Greek mythology, you had the Egyptian mythology. I really liked that.
Well, and also, I mean, her appearance in 52. It was great because she also formed this interesting kind of calming influence on Black Adam.
Yes.
Because it's like you had Black Adam like, I'm gonna tear people limb from limb, and then she's like, honey, maybe here's another idea. And it's like, so I don't have to tear his limbs off? Like, no, you don't.
It's okay.
It's like, oh, okay. Are you sure I can't tear one limb off? It's like, no, sweetheart. What did we talk about? Fine, I won't tear the limb off. It's like that's,
I like
that thing. And I gotta say, I think it would be interesting also to have, Adrianna's young son taking up the Osiris mantle, because we have a kid here who's all about, I get to be the hero of the people, and it's like,
yes,
okay, hopefully it will work out better for you than it did for your comic book counterpart, because
you guys have messed me up. I'm hearing the Filmation music in the background of my head.
Okay, so go.
I'm totally getting.
Yeah, no, go. Yeah. But I think also this is a good segue. This is a good segue to talk about like other characters that showed up in this.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Particularly,
so cool.
We did have, we had the JSA, which, by the way, I'm a huge fan of the JSA. So seeing them make their debut,
that was nice.
I was happy. I was so happy. I was like, yes, the JSA. Yes. Because and honestly, it made me hungry for more.
Definitely. They should get their own movie.
I want
to see some more of them.
Now, yeah, definitely. It's interesting with these JSA characters. In the comic book of JSA, my least favorite character is Dr. Fate. I've never liked Dr. Fate in any comic version, but Pierce killed it.
Yeah,
Pierce brought Dr. Fate to he's my favorite JSA guy now.
Pierce brought. First, I think Dr. Fate is one of those that, well, first off, he is not a clone, a Doctor Strange clone.
No.
I mean, I think that's one of those things that needs to be said right off the bat.
Right. Kent Nelson is very different than Stephen Strange.
Well, yeah. Yes. Well, no, different stuff. And the thing is that there is potential in the a great use of Doctor Strange, not Doctor Strange. See, I just did it.
You just did it.
Okay.
It's okay. We'll forgive you.
All right. A great use of Dr. Fate was in the recently, the recent Young Justice cartoon, because they had a subplot. Well, first of all, they had a subplot where the Helmet of Fate ended up with the character of Zatara, and you had Zatanna trying to figure out what to do, because the fact that anyone who puts on the Helmet of Fate, congratulations, you now are possessed by the spirit of Naboo, the one who, the Lord of Order who created it. So you had poor Zatanna, running subplot, trying to figure out, how do I free my dad from this?
Right.
And in the most recent season, Zatanna made a deal with Dr. Fate, with the spirit of Naboo, where it's okay, there's going to be a group of us that will share the helmet, and we're going to be taking turns. We're going to be taking turns being Dr. Fate. And Naboo's like, okay. And it's interesting because I kind of wish that there were hints of it in Black Adam, but I would love for them to, I would love if when the JSA comes back, for them to get into this. There is, Naboo is, he thinks of himself as a defender, but it's hey, look, I'm defending the world. So I'm going to take over your body right now when you put on my helmet. But you know what? It's for the greater good, because hey, we're defending the Earth.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. I would love to see some of that. I'm actually, and then you're going to laugh at. And by the way, I have to laugh at the cameo by Henry Winkler. It's
was he supposed to be the original Atom Smasher?
Yes.
Yeah, he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be the Al Pratt. The Al Pratt.
Okay, I thought so. That was a good cameo. His identity was Adam, but I love the fact that they had him as Adam, and I'm just you know what? I'm here for it.
I'm here for it. I'm good with this. I love it. I love that he was the original. And I would love if they do more with the JSA. Again, bring him in. Have him and maybe get a couple of other older actors to kind of shoot the breeze and be like, look at these youngsters. It's like, well, remember you and I versus Per Degaton? Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Yeah,
I like the fact that the original JSA were much older. That it was a different era that they're from.
Yeah. One thing though, and you're gonna laugh at this. So we had Cyclone.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love Cyclone. I love Cyclone. And honestly, and you're gonna laugh at this, I dare them on a return appearance by the JSA. I dare them to bring, to have someone play Mahunkel. For them to bring in the Mahunkel Red Tornado.
I was like that. I was thinking. I was actually thinking they were going to bring Red. I for some reason when I'm watching the movie, I'm like, okay, it's going to happen. But so yeah, I'm not laughing at that, Ed. That would work.
Oh yeah, no, bring her in. Get like I don't know, get if Oprah Winfrey's available, just be like, hey, can you cameo? Can you cameo as Mahunkel? Can you cameo as Mahunkel, Oprah? Like do it. Bring Oprah in as Mahunkel, or bring I don't know, find somebody and just be like, okay, we're gonna have Mahunkel.
Cool.
And then and Hawkman,
Carter Hall. Oh,
Carter Hall. Yep. Oh yeah. No, and I love this interpretation of Hawkman.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Yeah. No, and to me, it also fits. First of all, I thought it was a great kind of like opposite,
right?
Black Adam, because he's all like, don't kill him, but he also has that aggressive streak that reminds me of the way Hawkman has been portrayed in recent times, like within the past 20 years, like with Jeff Johns when he had JSA, like the fact that he's kind of, a little harder edge. I like it. I love some of the tech, like the JSA's little flying vehicle. I just want more of the JSA. Like, darn it. I wanted even like maybe a little hint. It's like, should we call in backup? It's like, no, let's not bother Alan or Ted or anybody else. Gooning a name drop to Alan Scott, Ted Grant. Freaking, hell, even make a mention of the Americommando.
Ooh.
Freaking bring in the Americommando.
Now, there was one thing I didn't understand.
Okay,
so Dr. Fate was really adamant not to have Hawkman die, right?
Yeah.
We know the history of Hawkman. If Hawkman had died, he would have been reincarnated and it would be a new Hawkman. So it's not like it would be the end of the world for Carter Hall to have died.
You know what?
Dr. Fate was needed. And yes, I like the resolution. I like the way it happened. But the worry that Kent Nelson had, would he have had that worry? Yes, they were friends, but he wouldn't be gone forever.
Well, I suspect, first off, I think part of it is just, this is Black Adam's movie.
Yeah.
And the fact that, this is Black Adam's movie. We don't need, we don't
backstory.
We don't need to get into other backstory. Like that's also why probably they didn't get into the Helmet of Naboo type thing. They didn't get into that.
We didn't get into all the others because
exactly. I think that's part of it.
And that's why we need a JSA movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also, they didn't want to get into the reincarnation thing. It could also be that Dr. Fate was worried that since they're battling, a demon like Sabak, that his whole reincarnation thing may be in danger. Like he didn't want
a possibility.
He didn't want and again, his visions were, notice that the visions, it was Hawkman screaming, and we later found out he was screaming because of something else.
Right.
But it's the fact that when your character gets visions like that, you got to be like, it seems kind of a trope that you can't just be like, okay, you know what? this looks bad, but you know what? Hawkman could be screaming because he stubbed his toe. You got to be like,
well, I mean, he does see multiple futures. He does see multiple outcomes.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, it's the
and you do kind of.
But the outcome would have been successful had Hawkman died. He saw that. He saw that it would have worked that way too.
Well, he kind of wanted it to work in a way that he didn't lose his friend.
Well, but then he loses himself.
Yeah, but
I
remember these are
sacrifices himself for his friend. Sacrifices himself for his friend.
Which, by the way, I will say this: I kind of wonder if we could get some of the the Helmet of Fate is around.
Yeah,
it kind of makes me wonder.
It's gone somewhere else now.
Yeah, I would love to see now some of the alternate fates. Hey, I mean, we had Kent.
Yeah.
I imagine Inza has to be there. Has to be around somewhere. We could get the Inza. We could get the Inza Nelson, Dr. Fate. We could even get the Dr. Fate that was two people. That was like a mother and son sharing the Fate body.
I remember. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Eric and Linda Strauss. That was their names.
Yeah.
We could get Eric and Linda Strauss. Yeah. I mean, there's
something like that could be fun because like with all comic books, you've got those different versions that are floating out there. Yeah. And I feel like these versions and these stories just fit really nicely for this, and they have to make decisions just like in the MCU. So you're kind of stuck. What do you do to make this flow? Why do we need Black Adam to come back? Why do we need this to work this way? Why do we need everyone else? Why does Dr. Fate need everyone else to understand that we need Black Adam? He knows things that others don't. And I have to agree with you that Pierce Brosnan's version of this character, I loved every moment of it.
Yeah.
There was just something about it that it was believable, it was strong, it was and I want to see a Justice Society movie too. And I felt that
or TV series, but they've kind of done that sort of, maybe with Stargirl, kind of iffy, maybe kind of sort of. But I see this, and while it is true, when I saw the Jet, there was a moment of Quinjet feelings. Yes.
And it's hard not to, because we know that the two of them borrow from each other all the time.
Yeah.
But I think that they did a nice job of doing a differentiating, that I didn't feel like I was watching another version of the Avengers.
Right. Yeah.
So I felt like it was a different team.
Well, with the JSA, one of the things you can lean into is the fact that they're all about legacy.
Yeah.
That they're all about, that it's all about, the fact that you have a group of heroes who, are in the footsteps of other men and women.
Yeah.
Like right there, you can have something where, you have, you can tap into that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that makes it just so, such a great concept. The fact that you can have, you can have older heroes who are kind of like, all right, son, I'm going to teach you the ropes. We do this, and this.
Yeah, talk about proving that, they don't have to be young to be interesting, and and I do enjoy the way that they had a mix, for lack of a better word, a mix of ages.
Yeah.
All the characters in this, they covered a nice variety of age groups, and pulling from characters from different versions. I actually kind of enjoyed that, because it was like, okay, well, that appeals to me. That it actually all appealed to me.
Yeah.
But I can so understand where it just and again, I feel like the writers and the directors had fun, and it shows. And so we had fun watching it. And I think that it probably would appeal to people even if they weren't as familiar with the comics, and we're just familiar with all the characters. Like Dr. Fate, I'd completely forgotten about that character. And then it was like, hold it. No, I do remember this character. Again, another one of those. It's like, oh God, because it's been a while. And it's like, I do remember this character. I remember liking this character. It was kind of cool because it was different. And it was unique. And I love, good piece of, magical equipment that transports you. Timey-wimey stuff, I wonder why. I like to cross a few dimensions or two.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the reasons that this really worked, is that there was so much about it that was surprisingly relevant. And I don't know how much of that was Dwayne's doing. As producer, you never know how much the producers are really involved, but he was so gung-ho to do this project, and he was so involved. It seems that I guess I have to feel like some of the credit has to go to him. Definitely. Because of the fact that it probably wouldn't have been made if it wasn't for him.
Oh, yeah.
And so, kudos to whatever he put into play, whatever was his decisions, because nice job.
Yeah.
It really worked.
Definitely.
It did work. Definitely did work.
And I hope they really do a second movie, because I want to see it.
Oh, yeah.
No, the second movie was really good. And, I totally would pay money for it. I know all of you would, you guys.
Yes.
And the audience, if you've seen this movie and you're listening to us, hopefully you have seen it, or you're getting tons and tons of spoilers, and then you still see it because it looks visually amazing as well as the story. But okay, so we have to go here on Subspace Radio Network. Now I'm going to give you a little story here. So definitely you can find our show on YouTube, all our old shows since 2012, and you can go. But there are two podcast versions of our show. One, the one that you're listening to from Subspace Radio, put out by Subspace Radio, called Mark Who 42's Universe, which of course is us. But there is the second podcast, and that's the one we always talk about, and we want more people to go to it. The second podcast is called the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast, and that's the one that we have more content. Yes, we're going to have more discussion, a much more on Black Adam on the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast. You can definitely listen to more of our show next week here on Subspace Radio Network, and of course the Subspace Radio Network podcast, Mark Who 42's Universe. But I suggest, and we all suggest, you try the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast for more content. And please go to our Facebook page and like us, follow us, the Mark Who 42's Universe. It's a great page. We put up a lot of news. We put up posts about our show. I post Doctor Who stuff all the time because I'm a big Doctor Who fan, but we post a lot of other stuff. Guys, are you ready to leave Subspace Radio and go to our extra innings?
Sure.
On to the next show.
All right. So, but for those who are listening on Subspace, I'm Mark Baumgarten. With me were Eduardo M. Freyre and Vicky Jakubowski. I've been talking long enough about this. Stick around, folks, on the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
By the power of Grayskull, I command the jaw bridge. Open!
The Powers of Grayskull series will cover every episode of all 4 Masters of the Universe cartoons. Join Optimus Solo and myself, TF2 and Mike, as we tell tales of Eternia, discover the myths of Etheria, become masters in space, and finally masters of Grayskull. We'll have a commentary on the Secret of the Sword film, and a few other special episodes. You can find this 125-episode-long podcast in iTunes and on the web at geekcastradio.com. By the power and honor of Grayskull, we all have the power.
Hurry, Skeletor, hurry! I am hurrying, I'm hurrying!
It's Extra Innings here on the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast. Welcome back from the commercial break. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. With me, of course, is Eduardo M, Freyre, Vicky Jakubowski, and joining us, he wasn't here the first part, but he's here now, Zion Quiros. Hey, Zion.
Hi.
Did you enjoy Black Adam? Because we all did.
Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was.
And what was it?
It was a superhero movie. At the end of the day, it was a superhero movie. I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah, okay. It was a it was a superhero movie. I mean, mind you, the superhero is like, this is the superhero, quote unquote, like rips guys in half, drives his fingers through people's faces, and
This was PG-13, correct?
Yes, they
I believe
left
it
out
was
all the rated R
PG-13.
stuff.
Yeah.
They put it on the cutting room floor because they didn't want to take a risk. What can I say?
Wait a minute. You mean it was supposed to be R? They were making
I
it
have
R?
heard stories that there are deleted scenes that would have made it rated R.
I would totally have watched
I seem
that.
to.
I
You know
hope
what?
they put that on the DVD,
Blu-ray. Yeah.
I hope they do.
Yeah, do like an extended, rated R cut.
Yes, director's cut.
But overall, if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, I give it a 9.5, but sure.
Yeah, I'd give it a solid 9.
Yeah.
I give it about a 8.5 to 9 on the Richter scale.
But now,
I mean, Black Adam's destroying. He's
no, like
give me a break, dude.
The subject of Black Adam, everything's perfect. It's fine. Yes, I love it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
every time this guy says Justice Society, my brain just says of America. Just say of America. Justice Society of America. I just want to please just say JSA or just something. Just don't say Justice Society.
Yeah,
but isn't there also the International Justice Society?
No, that's Justice League.
No, Justice League. Yeah.
Oh, that's Justice League. That's right.
Justice.
That's right.
Yeah, Justice League had the international
that's right.
guys.
Justice League
Society has
International,
never.
Justice League Europe,
Although,
Justice League Australia.
Although, if if the comics are to be believed right now, we may be getting we may be getting more Justice Societies.
Oh, good.
Because I don't know if anybody's following, but they recently did there was a comic called The New Golden Age, and it was all and it was basically introducing the Justice Society. It's kind of bringing in the Justice Society into the current DC universe, and they hinted that there was in the Flashpoint Beyond miniseries, it was hinted that there were heroes that were displaced in time that are now reintegrating into the fabric of reality, and there was also a mention of a Justice Society Dark.
Oh, so they're doing that. They're doing that. It's a supernatural Justice Society. All right.
So I mean, we may have that.
Aren't
may
they already
be.
Could Wonder Woman be in that too? Wonder Woman could be in both, but she'll be a secretary in society.
Maybe.
No, she's going to be the treasurer.
The treasurer. You're right.
You're right.
We said that. We did say that she'd be the treasurer this time.
She's in control of the money because y'all can't
be
trusted.
Obviously not.
Things. Okay, I mean, I'm glad Zion's here because there were a couple of things that I wanted to cover, but I didn't want to cover them without him. Thing number one, Zion, what did you think of the surprise end credit scene?
It's very nice, right? Because I'm like, finally, we're getting more Superman, right?
Yeah.
Because Henry Cavill, at least in my eyes, is like you grab someone from the comics that's not a Jeff Johns comic because he just drew Christopher Reeve, but like you take it from the comic and you just say all amalgamation of all Superman is Henry Cavill's face, and I take it completely as that. I just don't like the suit, but that's a whole nother story. But overall, I was like, okay, more Superman, but I have something to say about it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Justice Society of America, right?
Yeah.
Now, you'll see where I'm going this for a second. You start this movie off, right? And just like Marvel, we have our own DC opening, right? Showing the Justice League and blah, blah, right? But at the end, who is at the end of the intro? The Green Lantern, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Again, just a society, right? I didn't expect any Green Lantern thing or anything at all, right? But if there was a movie to do it here, it'd be in the Justice Society of America movie, right? But like, that's a whole nother Green Lantern. I understand that, right? Alan Scott, fine. But like, the whole thing is like, when are we going to get something for Green Lantern? Eventually, like,
I think Green Lantern to DC is like Fantastic Four to MCU.
Overall, yeah. But like, the thing is that, like, how can you have this guy in your intro and you don't use him? You have every other person in this intro that's been used on and on and on, but you never use Green Lantern.
They do.
He got used once
in a post-credit scene.
Yeah, they used him.
Which was deemed non-canon, I guess, by the heads of DC.
But, well, they have him in the animated series that are being released, the animated movies.
Yeah.
There's been a few. Green Lantern has been involved in a few, and there's been a few where he's been the headliner. So I think that's probably where they feel like they can get away with that. I think they're still a little gun shy. Sorry, I just realized I did a pun there. Because then, of course, with the new Kevin Feige of DC.
Yep. Which, by the way, congratulations, James Gunn, on your new
Yes.
I
new
think that
position.
if there's anyone who could potentially do it, it is him. I hate the fact that they're calling him the new Kevin Feige of DC, because James Gunn is his own man, and he's definitely proved that time and time again that he is his own creative abilities and genius. That, comparing him to someone else like that is it's also setting him up for failure.
Well, they're also, what they're trying to do is they're trying to let people know, by saying he's the Kevin Feige of the DCEU. They're trying to say, oh, we have somebody who's going to, steer the ship.
Yes.
And who's going to create like a unified vision, and you're sure to love it.
And I think that's a really good idea, because it has been a rudderless boat for a long time. Pretty much in the last, 10 years, any attempt to make DCEU, whatever the heck they want to call it, their attempts to do that has kind of failed, because there hasn't been somebody going, okay, so if we're going to look at this big picture wise, how are we going to do this?
Yep.
And you need someone to do that.
Also, I think that the end credits scene, with Superman showing up and Amanda
that
Waller,
was so
like,
nice to get him back.
I think, it's great to have him back, and I think also with James Gunn being the new captain of the ship.
Yeah.
One of the things I also feel it does is it creates, I feel like the whole concept of, of Superman versus Black Adam. I feel like James Gunn being behind that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
is that he will have an idea, the idea that's in his head, that he'll be like, oh, this is, won't be like Batman v Superman again.
Right.
You're going to get
it'll make more sense.
Superman.
Right. It'll make, exactly. Superman as this kind of paragon of hope, and like, oh, hey, let's, we don't have to be we don't have to be like trying to destroy everything.
Yeah.
Versus Black Adam, who's all like, oh, shut up, Boy Scout.
You need those two sides of the coin. You need that yin and that yang.
Exactly.
It works really well. It's like earlier I was talking about Black Adam kind of fits in with that 80s rogue cop kind of concept that was super popular. And, this works because you always have to have, one partner has got to be the straight-laced, by the book dude, and the other one has to be the rogue. And together, they save the world time and time again. Well, okay, now we got Superman and we got Black Adam. You've got the rogue cop and you got the Boy Scout. Together, they're going to save the world in new and interesting and fun ways.
Yes.
And I think that it would be very enjoyable to watch, because they will bicker. They will not see eye to eye. They will not agree. They will occasionally be, oh, heck no. And, but ultimately, it will be better for the universe that for the most part, they are on the same side.
Yeah. And actually I can even picture, I mean, I don't know, honestly, the idea of, the Boy Scout with Black Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my head, I can already picture a scene where it's like you have Superman stopping to take a kitty off a tree and give it to a little girl, and Black Adam just being like, "We have time for this," and Superman's just like, "We should always take time to do this," and then you have Black Adam trying, and the cat's like trying to scratch the hell out of him, and he's like,
and then Black Adam blows up the tree, and then
or like he just Black Adam's just standing there being unfazed at getting clawed at, but just looking at Superman like, really, and then just like handing it back to the little girl with like this look on his face of like, can you take this, please?
That being said, but first, this guy needs his own standalone movie by himself first, because the last time that we got Superman was with him with Batman. I need a Man of Steel 2 first.
No,
I'm sure we'll get one.
You know what?
I'm sure
honestly,
we'll get a Superman movie.
Zion, I feel you. I feel you on the fact that, but I feel like even more so than Green Lantern, Superman is one of those characters that, for some reason, the powers that be at Warner Brothers, they don't know what to do.
Which makes
no
sense.
And that blows my mind. Exactly. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
it's so easy. Just make him the shining beacon of hope. Literally, it's in his name, the Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, also, I think what it is that they think too much on the Boy Scout angle, and then they get crippled because it's like, oh no, how do we do this? Because we can't have the Boy Scout, and it's like, that there's more to him, right?
Look, this might be too much of a thought. This might be since we're in DC, a level 8 intelligence thought process. But have them read some comics. Whoa.
Amen, honey.
Amen. Wait, Zion. Are you saying that they should actually pay attention to the source material?
What?
Oh,
what? You're crazy.
No, you're not crazy, right. Kid. Only Marvel can do that. DC can't do that.
Like it's all the character is right there. Just read it, and
you're right.
It's right there.
Yeah.
But you bring up. I'll say this. I mean, if we can change gears for a second.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I mean, you mentioned Batman. But I think it would be remiss that we do have to talk about, not the elephant in the room, but, we do have to talk about recent news.
Well, before we do, because I'm not done talking Black Adam. I got to keep going here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the origin of Teth-Adam at the misdirection we had. Was the misdirection in the comic? Was it really the son who was chosen by Shazam?
Yeah. You know what? Actually, I haven't. I
think if I read correctly, it was in one version. Yes.
Okay, because I was hoping that it was a complete change up, that they were doing something new for the movie.
Yeah,
but you think it was all right?
Yeah, I thought I read somewhere that one version it was that way, in one version of the comic books.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like if it was, it's one of the more modern interpretations.
Okay. I think so.
One of the things I really loved about the whole thing with the change up was when they got to the point where the son is an adult giving the powers to Teth, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at him and I'm going,
and you recognized him?
I totally knew who it was. It was Uli Latukefu, who plays Dwayne Johnson on Young Rock.
Yes.
Plays the college student and older Young Rock. And I'm watching it going, oh my God, that's him. And I'm like, okay, why couldn't the kid have been the why couldn't the son?
Because the kid's not that young anymore.
I know. But I'm like, oh, that is perfect. I had to double check. I had to go to IMDb when I got home, and yeah, it was him. And I'm like,
That's
cool.
Wow, that was that was the right person to play him.
It was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I think
Uli,
that's something
Uli, if I got your name wrong, your last name, if I pronounce it wrong, I'm sorry. But
I think it's
send all your complaints to Marku.
Marku42
s.universe@gmail.com. Right. Is that I'm going to tell you that I think that most of the casting in this, and I can't think of any casting I didn't like. The casting was really nice in all of this. I was pleasantly surprised with everything.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single casting choice that they made that I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't always say that. So I just wanted to throw out kudos, because I'm always talking about that with Marvel. So I didn't say that yet with this movie. So nice job, DC. Great casting choices.
Oh yeah.
Keep that going.
Yeah.
And don't stop. Please don't stop.
Definitely. So I think in the trailers and stuff they showed that Amanda Waller was going to be in it, right? There was a shot.
Did
you expect Amelia Harcourt?
No, that's surprising. I'm like, hold it. Wasn't she in the outs with her?
I didn't.
I was confused for a moment.
Yeah, I think. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if what happened was that after the events of Peacemaker, that maybe somehow Amelia Harcourt kind of got that she kind of somehow broke bread with Waller and was like, okay, it's okay, all right. You did some stuff. I'm a little mad at you, but I forgive you. Like they may have, they may have had like,
I can see that.
Yeah, and it may just be one of these things where I don't know Harcourt may have, done something to kind of smooth things over.
It brings the movie and the TV. It brings everything together, which is what James Gunn wants to do.
Right.
It's going to be the movies, the TV shows, the video games. Everything is going to go into a centralized story. It's something about an 11-year storyline or
10 or 11. I saw the headlines. I haven't had a chance to read that yet. That he has.
Yeah.
But it's nice that Gunn has a plan. It's nice that Gunn's thinking,
he has a plan.
Yes.
I have a plan, and I also feel like James Gunn is the type that when he has a plan, that he's going to stick to it, and he's good at, he's good with plans, and he's also somebody who knows like what we've seen from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Right.
He's like, okay, superhero movies are fun stuff. Let's have some fun. I mean, even the Suicide Squad, it had so many fun moments. And the fact that he filled the squad with like these B-listers, and it's like, oh, okay,
such a good job about that.
He gets that.
Which is one of the reasons he's going to be he is just a really good choice for taking it into a new direction. I think he's got a really good idea of world building and kind of visualizing that big picture, and how do we take this to a new direction? How do we take this to a new level? And if you want to have, as we discussed previously with She-Hulk and Kevin, and all the different things that they've got going on and all the different strings that they've got connecting everything, that's what DC's missing. Yeah. There's, where is all those strings leading to the heart of DC? And, they've done an excellent job with their animated movies that they've had coming out year after year for the last several years. Excellent job. Now, and they've done some really good jobs with some other projects that they've had here and there. Boy, wouldn't it be nice if they had somebody who could just bring it all together, tie it all together, even if they're disparate projects, even if they're not 100%, tied in perfectly. They don't have to be. They can have tenuous tie-ins.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if James Gunn demanded Batgirl was released?
Amen.
I want to see Michael
my
Keaton.
Lord.
I want to see Michael
Oh,
Keaton in there.
jeez.
I want to see this.
Yeah, no,
I mean, I've heard some kind of iffy things about it, but it still looks.
I think
good
we
to
still
me.
want to see it.
Yeah,
I think that's part of it.
No, yeah.
We
Let
still
the,
want to see it.
You know what? It's one of those things where let the fans decide.
right.
Let them decide if this isn't good enough or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the fact that it was supposed to be Keaton's triumphant return. It was supposed to be part of Keaton's triumphant return to the suit.
Yeah.
And the fact that now, it's like, yeah, he may be in the Flash, but let's see how long he's in the Flash.
Uh-huh.
And it's like he was supposed to, he's supposed to be in the Flash. He was supposed to be in Batgirl, maybe even in something else.
Mm.
And it's like now that looks iffy because he's just, it's just so iffy because now it's like, do they even want to do that anymore?
Mm.
Or do they want to throw him out and just be like, nah, we don't need that.
Have fun with it, people. Have fun with it.
Since we're on James Gunn, can I ask you guys about the soundtrack? Because if we go back all the way back to Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
His whole thing about putting music like David Bowie and such in movies had a reason, which was the cassette to his mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And ever since then, every director that's been doing movies has kind of picked up on that, right? And that they just thrown in music without any direction, right? You can even go to Eternals, where Pink Floyd's Time started. There's no reason for that song to be in there. It's just there, right?
Yeah.
So now you go, and now I'm sitting here watching Black Adam, and then you have Paint in Black come on. Like, sure, okay, the name Paint in Black, right? But it doesn't fit. None of. And
really?
Then you start,
I thought it fit beautifully.
Sure, like you can have that one, but like out of all the other songs, like I can't even remember the others that are in there because they're just thrown in there, and it just finds it weird that like now they're just throwing in music just to throw it into fight scenes. Like not every fight scene needs a band song. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I guess because I'm
a
musical person.
Same here.
And my whole life, I kind of imagine my life with its own soundtrack. I am that weird. So when I hear music, and not necessarily background music, I mean, I love people like John Williams. I think he's amazing. But when I hear, especially if it's metal, or I'm a former metalhead. Okay, not former, but and if I hear the right beat in a fight scene, I love it, and it just to me it's just like yes, and it means something to me. But of course, I've been around for a few decades, and so these songs are kind of my soundtrack too. So I'm probably the same age as Gunn, and so it just makes sense to me.
Yeah. I kind of feel, I hear what you're saying, Zion. It's one of those things that it needs to be used
sparingly.
Sparingly. Like it needs to be, it needs to be like adding spices to a dish. You don't need to throw in, like not everything needs chili flakes.
Yes.
Not everything needs chili flakes. You can have, this can just simply be salt and pepper, but when used correctly, it can be spectacular. Like the fact that, going on to what started this Guardians of the Galaxy, the fact that you have Peter Quill walking through ruins, jamming to Come and Get Your Love.
Mm-hmm.
That by Redbone, I mean that was great because it set the tone. Because then you knew, okay, this is the kind of movie we're going to be getting. It set the tone, and it made you realize, okay, this is going to be a fun trip. This is not serious business, so you got the idea that this is going to be an enjoyable little romp, sit back and get ready to party.
Yeah, use it right.
Yeah. But
since like we're going ahead with the James Gunn thing, I just hope that it is just not like the thing for the DC universe, if you get what I mean. Like I'm going into every movie expecting, I'm gonna guess now, Heartbreaker from Led Zeppelin within my Superman fight scene.
Yeah, no, well, you know what? I'm pretty sure if Gunn is in charge of it, like if Gunn is in charge, or if it's Gunn's movie, or if he's in charge, I'm pretty sure he's going to be like, okay, guys, let's not, we don't need to have, we don't need to have, like, for example, in a, like in a soup, if there's a Wonder Woman movie, we don't need her like fighting bad guys to Hit Me With Your Best Shot by Pat Benatar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I can agree that maybe not every scene needs it.
Yeah.
And sometimes the choices even do make me cringe. But I do love a good sometimes it's very easy to debate what's the right choice and what's not.
At least Batman movies don't do it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're going to do anything with the Batman movies, I would say probably something a bit more classical. Like if it's a classical music piece,
Tim Burton did.
Yeah.
Tim Burton worked with Prince.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 1989, a lot of that music was written by Prince, and some of it, some of it was not actual pop songs that were released, but some of it was. And then you've got Kissed by a Rose by Seal, and U2 did the one with Val Kilmer. There was lots of pop songs in that one.
Well, yeah, but I think what we're talking about, Vicky,
released afterwards. That's true.
Well, they were, and also it's like Kiss from a Rose and the U2 song. I think it's like Hold Me, Kill Me, Kiss Me, Thrill Me.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
They were written for the movie, so it's a little different.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. It's not. It's not like. It's not like somebody's doing Kiss from a Rose on karaoke while Batman's fighting a bar full of people.
Okay, that might be pushing it.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay. I concede.
Yeah. Man. I mean, and speaking of Batman, I mean, I really want to talk Kevin Conroy.
Yes.
I really want to talk Kevin Conroy. I mean, he passed away on Friday, the Friday before we recorded this, at the age of 66 from cancer. Hashtag screw you, cancer. I'd say something else, but we're trying to keep it PG.
Yeah, family friendly show.
And it's like, honestly, I mean, well, first of all, he probably did announce he was sick, but I just forgot about it. And it's like,
it was really quick. It was only a couple weeks earlier, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, and it's like, but honestly, I mean, I gotta hand it to Kevin Conroy, because he is Batman for an entire generation. And he's one of those. I think there aren't enough lists that put him, that have him on them, that showcase exactly just how much of an impact he had on the character and just on the generation that grew up with him. I mean, the thing I think that gets ignored is that the whole thing where Batman has a growl when when he speaks, and then when it's Bruce Wayne, it's like, he started it. We wouldn't have that without Kevin Conroy.
Without him.
He was the one who was like, if you meet Batman, it's like, I'm Batman. And then if you meet Bruce, he's like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how's it going? Bruce Wayne, nice to meet you. And then also it's like, because like after I found out he passed away, I took the time to I took the time. In the evening, I watched a bunch of episodes of the animated series.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, this is just. I mean, honestly, there will never be another like him.
No.
Yes.
You know, he is unique. He's iconic. He made it his own, and he just one of my things. I love the fact that this is also, you know, I mean, this was post Tim Burton, post Frank Miller, and the series had like elements of that, but it still had lighthearted moments. You know, like the fact that the first appearance of Mr. Freeze, he defeated Mr. Freeze with Alfred's chicken soup.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot tell me that if someone was trying to do Batman nowadays, that they would have him defeat Freeze with like just simply a can of a container of chicken soup.
Nope.
Like, I don't think anybody would do that. They would be like, no, he's going to use this, you know, he's going to create this flamethrower or something like that, you know. Or just the fact, like, you know, we rag on Batman v Superman, and I gotta say, I always prefer, what's it called, World's Finest, which was the three-part, three-part Superman episode that actually had Batman and Superman meet for the first time, and the fact that, like, for example, when Superman used his heat vision, not the heat vision, sorry, the X-ray vision to look at the cape and cowl. And, you know, Batman's response, he goes, "You peaked." You know, and or like, you know, the thing ends with Joker stealing this giant flying vessel, crashing into the water, and then Harley Quinn screams, "Pudding!" To which Batman responds, "At this point, he probably is." But he just does it so deadpan. You know, you know, it's just and the fact that he was Batman for what? Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
Batman Beyond. Justice League Unlimited.
Yep.
What am I forgetting? Justice. He also, I think he voiced him for the Arkham games.
Yes, the Arkham games and the
Arkham
Injustice
games.
games.
Yeah, for the games.
Yep.
Injustice.
All those movies.
The Killing Joke movie.
Yes, Killing Joke.
Batman and Harley Quinn movie.
Yep. Which, by the way, as far as the Killing Joke is concerned, I will forgive the scene where Batgirl and Batman.
Yeah, we'll forgive that.
We'll just leave that alone.
We're just gonna. It's fine. It's fine.
We're just nope. Just nope. Yep. Yep.
You know what's amazing though is that he will always be my favorite Batman.
Oh,
right.
Which is funny.
Oh, yeah.
Considering my history with Batman, and I think it's because he was my son's first Batman. And there is something so special about Batman the Animated Series. But then to realize that he was this hugely talented actor. He was trained in Juilliard.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's nothing to.
Which,
that is
by
nothing
the way,
to
did
see
you
that.
know that his roommate in Juilliard was Robin Williams?
Did not know that.
No, I think.
Robin
Wasn't Robin Williams roommates with Christopher Reeves, or they were just friends?
They were roommates in college.
Okay.
But for a while, they were roommates in Juilliard, and they studied together in Juilliard. I mean, can you imagine?
Oh,
and
Lordy.
he did Shakespeare. So this is, again, you have an actor who is an actor. He is an extremely talented actor. And he takes something, because, you know, it drives me insane when I hear people talk about how voice actors aren't real actors.
Oh,
I know that's crazy. If you've ever met a voice actor or you've ever done voice acting, it is extremely difficult.
Well, you know what I heard?
I forget every ounce of the body.
No, and here's the thing, because I heard. Okay, I forget who it was that was telling the story, it was either, I think it was Michael Bell, voice actor Michael Bell, who's talking about how he did one of these projects where they got a celebrity, to do a voice, and how what happened was they both end up in the restroom like during a break, and how the celebrity's like just like totally shell shocked because they didn't realize the amount of work that went into this, and it's like. And it's like you just hear that and you're like, duh.
Yes.
Duh.
And so he takes this talent he has and he does. And what's interesting is to find out that, all the different characters that he's played for DC over the years, but the fact that he has created a Batman that everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, if you talk about Batman and you bring up Batman animated series, I have yet to meet a fan group that, oh gosh, that is so good, isn't it? I mean, they put it up there with any movie, any TV show, anything. It's just like, oh yeah, that Batman. Oh my gosh.
You know what? That series.
I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, no, that series.
Mm-hmm.
That series.
Yes.
X-Men the animated series,
Uh-huh.
those two are held up on a pedestal as far as incredible animation is concerned.
Yes.
It's like you want to talk about
God, yes.
Holy cow, great animation. You then bring up Batman the animated series, X-Men the animated series, and it's just like, it's no contest. It ends up being like just absolutely no contest.
For my son's 25th birthday, I had bought him all the DVDs because they'd come available.
Yeah. Oh,
and
nice.
so we watched all of them. And
Nice.
I was like, and the series is about as old as he is. And I was amazed at how much the writing, the voice acting, the animation held up all those years later. I'm like, you watch things and you're nostalgic. I watched Scooby-Doo from the 60s and the 70s, and I'm nostalgic. Doesn't necessarily hold up, but you watch it because it's nostalgic.
Yeah.
But you watch Batman, the animated series, and everything about it is still good all these years later. And I put a big chunk of that on Kevin. The way he carried that show, and you felt like, and I realize that the animation also, of course, helps with this, but you felt like him, because even the little sounds he would make for the character, the little grunts or the and just the way he would do that, you felt like you would see him. And you were seeing him, not an animation. You were seeing Kevin playing Batman, and you believed it.
And it carried over really, because like I grew up with Batman Beyond, right? And like if you look at Batman in Batman Beyond, he's pretty much like Oracle, right? He's in the chair, pretty much looking over the shoulder and telling Terry what he should be doing as Batman as he's learning, essentially, right? And that's pretty much it. But he kept your attention because you knew it was Batman. And
also, I mean,
you had to say, you had to carry the old man that is Batman. You're like, wow, Batman.
Yeah. Well, and then also, I mean, one of the things that gets me is there's a great moment there's an episode of Batman Beyond where this villain tries to act like he's the voice in Bruce's head, and there's like a moment where Terry's talking to Bruce and go and Bruce says, oh, I realized it had to be a fake, and it's like, oh, what made you realize that? And it's like, because he called me Bruce. The voice in my head would never call me Bruce. and then it's like, Terry's like, what does the voice call you? And then and it's like, he didn't even, no response, just stares at Terry. And then Terry's like, that's my suit right now. And it's like, I forget what Bruce's response was, but it's so priceless.
So now
I think there was also, Justice League, there was a moment, there was like a there was an episode where they actually time traveled and they met Terry and Bruce, and present day Batman is trying to get the bad guy to talk, and old Bruce just grabs his cane, walks over to the guy, and he just mutters to himself, "Was I ever that young?" And it's like, we don't even see what old Bruce does, but then the guy they're interrogating just sings like a canary, and it's like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to know. It's like, whatever it is, it worked. We're just gonna move on now.
Going back to your Batman Beyond story, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you something. Terry only knows Bruce's voice by that. You watch Batman the animated series, and then you watch Batman Beyond. Which voice is Bruce actually using?
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a whole nother.
Oh, yeah.
But
he's using the Batman voice through the entire thing.
Yep. Well, because
it's like he no longer distinguishes. He no longer.
He is Batman.
He is.
Exactly. Well, it goes back to the the reference in that episode.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, Terry only knows Bruce by that voice. So if he knew Bruce back then, he'd be like, "Why is your voice like that now?
Yeah,
why do you treat me that way?"
Yeah. Why are you talking like Ken? Where's Barbie?
And people might not want to say this, but I honestly think Kevin Conroy is part of the best Batman movie of all time, Mask of the Phantasm.
Thank you.
Oh, that is
thank you.
Good.
Yes.
So good.
Thank you. Every time I hear somebody sing the praises of Mask of the Phantasm, I'm like, oh, good, I'm not alone.
That was such a.
Watching that movie as a kid is a completely different experience than watching it as an adult. I kid you not. Like when you're a kid and you're watching Batman, it's like it's Batman, right? And it's just the movie's just raw quality. And even as a kid, you're like, wow, this is a cut above the rest.
Oh yeah, no, and it's
anything that I'm watching today,
so
tomorrow,
well
and another day, it's not as good.
Everything.
As
yeah. Oh no, and then the thing is the other thing. I mean, we're talking about great performances by Conroy. The bulk of the movie has like flashbacks to Bruce before he fully dedicated himself.
Yeah.
There's that scene where he's at his parents' grave,
right?
And he's struggling because he's in love with this girl, and he knows about his oath, and he's actually pleading with the ghost of his parents, and like, come on, I didn't know this would happen. I didn't know I was going to be happy. Tell me you're okay with it. And just the emotion in his voice, like this is somebody who's like in a serious struggle.
Yeah.
And it's like he pulled it off, and it's.
I have a question. When they was doing that series that they just axed for HBO Max, was he part of that?
I think he was. I think he was going to be. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was going to be. I think like the whole thing behind the series was it was going to be a return. It was going to be like the return of Camelot. You had Paul Dini. You had Paul Dini working it. Kevin Conroy was going to be back. It was. Yeah. It was going to be like. It was going to be like. Yeah. It was. Yeah, I think so. Which, I mean, I'm sorry it got canceled. Well, that may be a blessing in disguise because it's like.
Who else could have done it?
It wasn't canceled. It was just trying to find another home.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were still planning on making it. They were still planning on making it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, oh, geez. I mean, Well, we have had other characters voicing Batman. Like I think Bruce Greenwood,
Diedrich Bader,
Diedrich Bader. Yeah. But I know that Bruce Greenwood has done Batman's voice for a couple of the animated movies. I think what's his name? Darn it, he was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Jason O'Mara. I think.
I think so. Yeah,
he did it a couple of times. It's like we do have, like, there are people who have kept it going, but it's one of those things that it's like I pity
I pity anyone who comes next because you know
Yeah.
that some people are going to be like, well, he's good, but not as good as Conroy.
Has anyone met him?
I haven't.
Oh, you met him?
Oh, you
John?
did. You
Yes.
did, yeah.
Yes.
I was so hoping to do that at one of the Comic-Cons coming in the future, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
nice job, Zion.
He was like either at like Animate or SuperCon, but it was in
Might have been SuperCon.
it was in the MACC building. So
Oh,
it was in the early days. But yeah, so I met him, and like this is what I want to tell you guys and the people listening. Give these guys their flowers while they're alive. When I went to him, I just told him, "You are the man. You are Batman. I don't care what anyone says. You are Batman."
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
And of course, like he gives back. He knows what he means to the fans. He was just the nicest guy, just being there, shook his hand and everything. I'm pretty sure I have a picture too. But while these guys are around, because like it or not,
I agree.
Father Time is unbeatable.
Yeah.
Give them their flowers
no,
while they're at their conventions.
Yeah, I actually, I did get a chance to. I remember I went to one of the G.I. Joe collector conventions back when they were being done, and I did have a chance to talk to one of the figure designers.
Right.
And it's like before I went to the before I went into the con floor, I had met up with my best friend. He wasn't going to the convention, but we were sharing the hotel room because this was in Orlando, and we were going to do like a day at Disney World. But he basically, when he saw some of the con souvenirs I had picked up, he's like, "That's your crack, man." So I had that in my head, and when I met this toy designer, I was like, "Yeah, I'm here with my best friend. He says that this is my crack, so let me just take the time. Let me just take the time to say thank you for being my dealer." And he just laughed and he said, "Well, thank you for being addicted."
Yeah, but a huge shout out to all these guys.
Oh yeah.
People like Kevin, they've made our childhoods, our children's childhoods, and a huge shout out to everyone who's there for these us the fans, and Kevin will be missed.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I know Kevin Smith after news broke of of Conroy's death, he shared a clip from his movie Yoga Hosers, which actually had a cameo by Kevin Conroy, who actually kind of dips a little bit into his Batman persona to lecture the main characters after they sassed him. He's like, "Girls, that's not very Canadian." And what's funny is he turns to the kid who's with him. He goes, "Come on, Robin." it's like I know that Kevin Smith was probably the one that wrote that joke, but I'm just like, you know what? Kudos, because and honestly, I'm gonna take a guess. I'm gonna take like a wild guess and say that Conroy was like all too happy. Was just like, "Oh yeah, no, let's do it. This sounds hilarious." Oh man, and I think I do want to touch on the fact that one of the things that was a draw for me that I loved when the WB did like their rendition of Crisis on Infinite Earths is getting Conroy to actually play it wasn't the Batman, it was Earth whatever, but the fact to see him in live action as someone who had the cape and cowl was just great. I mean, even though his Batman was kind of a little, we were talking about like anti-heroes, even though his Batman was like, "All right, screw this no killing thing," it was still cool to think he is being Batman. Like he got to be Batman in live action.
Yes.
At least once. At least once.
I have never seen it. I have to see that.
Oh man. It was Crisis was awesome because the powers that be that did it they took advantage and they were like, okay,
yes,
we have this multiverse spanning saga. Let's Easter egg the heck out of it. And you had Kevin Conroy as a Batman that, by the way, visually was an homage to Bruce Wayne in Kingdom Come.
Yeah,
and then of course, and then also the one that it makes me laugh my head off is there was also a cameo by Burt Ward, who of course I think had one of the best lines of the entire thing. He's part of like a montage where they showed all these different Earths under threat.
Right.
And like the last one is, I'm guessing, I'm guessing that's supposed to be the Earth where Batman 66 took place.
Mm-hmm.
But you have Burt Ward walking a dog, which again, great shout out because Burt Ward and his wife are known for being, animal lovers, right. And they have like their own dog food company.
Oh wow.
But yeah, you have Burt Ward walking along with a dog. He sees like the skies turn red because of the whole, crisis thing, and he just goes right before it cuts to the main title. He looks at it in astonishment and goes, "Holy crimson skies of death!"
Oh, I hate to say it, but on that note, we've got to say goodbye. Oh,
we have to end it because we have to end it because the crisis is here.
Yes, but right before the crisis, we're gonna let everyone have a final word. Ed?
Black Adam is awesome, and Kevin Conroy is a legend. I'm pretty sure that when he got to the pearly gates, that Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. was there, dressed as Alfred, going, "Good to see you, Master Bruce." Tea? Yep.
Well, what else can I say but ditto?
All right, Zion?
Unlike you guys, Batman is never dead. He's just back in time. I'll see you soon, Bruce.
Oh, no. Didn't like that storyline. Sorry.
He's still back in time.
Okay. Okay. Folks, that's the end of the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast. We will talk to you. You'll hear from us next week. We've got a great show for you next week. But until then, so long, everyone. Bye.
Now, is that a promise or a threat?
It's a threat.
He admits it! Vicky, he admitted it!
Thanks for listening to Mark Who 42's Universe with hosts Mark Baumgarten, Eduardo M. Freyre, Zion Quiros, and Vicky Jakubowski. This program was produced and directed by Mark Baumgarten. If you'd like to get in touch with us, please go to our Facebook page or email us at markwho42s.universe@gmail.com. You can listen to old shows at our website, markwho42.com, or even our YouTube page, markwho42. Mark Who 42's Universe, copyright 2022.